7:36, you're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne.
So shall we have a look at today's front pages? The Guardian is leading with the headline, "A Budget for the Rich," as Kwasi Kwarteng's mini-budget was revealed.
The Eye says the pound has plunged as Kwarteng bets the UK economy on tax cuts.
The Daily Express leads with, "We've got the courage to bet big on Britain."
The Mail has, at last, a true Tory budget.
And the Telegraph leads with, "Kwarteng gambles on biggest tax cuts in half a century."
The Times says the budget is Truss's great tax gamble.
And the Mirror goes with the sex scandal involving a football player, and so does the Star.
Yeah, and the Sun has the Sussexes, saying Meghan Markle moaned that she should get paid for carrying out royal engagements, allegedly.
There's a lot of sort of nasty stuff in the papers today about Harry and Meghan. Whether you agree with them or not, up to you, I guess.
Oh, it still
Just feels a bit like a rampage, doesn't it?
It does. Let's go through the papers then with Pete Price and Ella Whelan. Morning to you both.
Hey.
Now, we've got a bricklayer shortage, Pete. The Daily Star has the answer.
Yes, I am a lumberjack and I'm okay. I work all night and I work all day. I love this. More women working in construction could save the industry,
Right.
which I think is great. And it is a great job. Architects, engineers, house builders, joiners, contractors have all said the most popular response would be to have female workforce. What puts people off is it's a dirty job, but many young people are recognising that this industry can offer exciting, practical and well-paid career path. I think it's great. You go abroad, in Spain in particular, there's a lot of women workers in the industry, and I've just come back from Singapore. A lot of construction workers there are ladies. Why not? They're in the armed forces. I think it's great, and it is apparently a very well paid job.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet it is.
Worry about the nails.
Well, I was going to say.
I mean, as a man, I worry about the nails.
Women are not just about nails.
No. I just said, as a man, I worry about my nails.
Oh, I see. Well, that's all right then.
It's one of those. It was my first ever job working with my father, who was a builder, all his life, and the things that you pick up, even just knowing how to lay tiles or knowing how to fix the back of the system when the toilet's not flushing right. It gives you, maybe this is like saying something terrible about gender roles or something, but when I can storm into someone's house and say, "Get out of the way," and fix it, and all the boys are still making themselves cups of tea. I love being
Look at our late great Queen. She could do that too, because she trained as an engineer, or
I was going to say, I couldn't see the Queen fixing a toilet.
No, but she can. You had to fix
No,
a
you should
car.
fix your car though.
Yeah. And it's because there was the training involved. It doesn't. It's not all about physically how strong you are. Sometimes it's just about knowing the business, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Interesting. If we have women bricklayers, will they wolf whistle men as they walk past?
Why not?
Nobody's allowed to wolf whistle.
That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, I think why not?
I built quite a few walls because my father used to insist on doing it himself, and he knew how to do it. So I've
Really?
I was contacted
You've been a bricklayer?
I was contacted quite recently by somebody who's moved into a house that once upon a time, many years ago, we owned. And I said to her, "Is the wall still out there?" And I looked on Google Maps, whatever. The wall I built is still there.
And
Daddy.
The Anne Memorial Wall.
Well, absolutely.
The memorial.
It was only one of those mini walls, that was just meant to define the area. But it was, My dad and I used to go out to the where they make paving slabs.
Yeah.
And he insisted, because he was a Scot, no, not because he was a Scot, but he insisted on never buying the full, it was always seconds we bought.
Nothing wrong with that.
And so we laid whole pathways with these seconds, so I knew how to lay a path as well.
My father had a concrete works.
Is that right?
That's how he started working.
Yeah.
First day I went, they said, "Watch out for the nails," straight through my foot.
Oh.
First day. Said, "You're not coming back again
I
now."
was going to say that.
Oh, blooming heck.
What jobs did you do? That's what we want to hear.
I worked in a shoe factory.
Did you?
What did you do?
Wow.
You know those bits where the eyelets, the metal eyelets in shoes that you put your laces in, they all have to be put in one at a time.
No. In a shoe?
Yeah, and I put them in.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes they do go wonky, don't
They do go.
Sometimes they fray at the edges, don't they?
The odd wonky one. There you go, yeah, shoe factory. Ella, to the Telegraph. Now, not wanting to speak ill of anyone who passed away. Hilary Mantel, there's like a renowned author. She's a bit posh for me. And I sort of think, do most people, I mean, get in touch, gbnews.uk. I sort of think, do the vast majority of people really know who Hilary Mantel is? Are they really bothered?
I think they are, because I mean I'm coming at this biased because I loved her books I didn't read all of her books, but her books on Thomas Cromwell.
The Wolf Hall trilogy.
Wolf Hall trilogy.
Me too. I thought it was
Just
unbelievable.
I was an antisocial person for a year because I just didn't speak to anyone. I just read them. They were so consuming. And I think she has done, her talent as a writer was phenomenal, but also she really changed the landscape of literature at a certain point in which there was this boom in interest in historical fiction because she did it so well. And you now have if you go into any bookshop, there's endless novels and reproductions of, reimaginings of the Greek myths, reimaginings of this war, reimaginings of that war, and a lot of it is down to Hilary Mantel. But she's also, as the Telegraph picks up, she's a kind of a unique author in that, and maybe she's posh, but I don't think that's something to hold against her. But in that she had this quite remarkable life. She had a lot of health problems. A lot of them stemmed from the fact that she had undiagnosed endometriosis, and she had chronic health problems. She sadly died because of a sudden stroke.
She was only 70.
Only 70, but in interviews, she was always extremely stoical about the fact that she said, well, yeah, my life is pretty hard because I've got to deal with this stuff, but I don't care, and she carried on writing. She was also, unlike lots of other authors, quite politically opinionated, which is unusual. With mixed opinions. For example, she got into a lot of trouble for calling the Duchess of Cambridge, what does it say here? A jointed doll on which certain rags are hung. She was very nasty.
Oh yes, she was.
About Kate.
Yes.
She's someone who's written fiction about women in roles of political power or adjacent to political power for a long time. So she had a certain position on that. She came out in support of J.K. Rowling in relation to the kind of gender trans debate, which a lot of people really supported her for. And then on the other side, she was, I would have really disagreed with her views on Brexit. She said, I hate Brexit and I'm moving to Ireland. But the kind of thing is that unlike lots of authors who sort of say, no, don't talk to me about my political opinions,
She got stuck in.
She was quite brave.
She had some weird opinions too, didn't she?
She said what she thought, and I think it's a terrible
She
tragedy.
hated the Thatcher years, but actually at the time she was living in Africa.
But the hope is that she was in the middle of writing this new piece of historical fiction. She was working on a TV production of The Mirror and the Light, which is the last in the Wolf Hall series. I hope that there will be some kind of work done to get them into the public light, because there's so many of us waiting for them.
Just in case you think that those books are not for me, too posh or whatever, just in case you really do think that, watch the dramatisation of Wolf Hall. It's on the iPlayer. Yeah. It is stunningly brilliant. I mean, stunning, gorgeous, wonderful.
What do you reckon, Pete? Is it just me? Am I just a bit common?
The saddest thing in my life is I read Pilgrim's Progress and of Mice and Men, and it went off books. It's the saddest thing in my life that I've not been a reader. I know I've missed out.
Never too late to,
I've tried. I have word blindness. I have problems. I mean, it was a bad enough problem trying to write my autobiography, which was bestseller. Did really well.
Did you speak into a dictaphone or something?
No, I used a ghostwriter, but it was me speaking, and we went through everything. And I was thrilled. And I mean, I write a column, and my column has to be checked for spelling mistakes, etc. But I know what I want to say.
Audiobooks, get audiobooks.
Yeah, audio.
No. Somebody, when I was on the road as a comic, doing 70,000 miles all over the country, I was listening to audiobooks. A lorry driver told me about them. And I'm driving back from London one day, and I went, "Where's Birmingham?" I was at Stoke because I was so engrossed in the book. So no, I got rid of all the audiobooks.
Oh, no.
Terrible.
Pete, can we have a look at the Mirror?
Yeah.
And drivers. And more rising prices. They were dropping. They've been dropping lately.
Yeah.
Go back up again.
Do you remember the middle of the pandemic? It was pound a litre. A pound a litre. Drivers are paying almost £5 more for a tank of petrol because of the weak pound. But it's only just taken a battering. How's it already happened?
Yeah.
People are going to jump in once again, making money. This is what annoys me.
Oh, they're very quick to put them up, put prices up, aren't they?
Absolutely. It makes me so cross at any chance. And there's an independent garage near me whose prices are ridiculously cheap. And if he can do it, why can't the others do it? That's what makes me cross.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible. And then to get a story in a headline, another petrol pounding. It's all mind-blowing. Everyone's beating each other up over heating bills and petrol pounding.
What I don't understand is when I drive into London, the prices in London are about 10p a litre cheaper at the pumps than they are where I live.
Have you seen how scandalous the prices are on motorways?
Oh.
Absolutely I'd push me car fares before I went to a petrol station on a motorway.
It's terrible.
Hate it.
Absolutely terrible. To the Times, Ella, the Home Secretary says police need to use common sense.
Yes, so this is Suella Braverman coming out and carrying on with Liz Truss's kind of finger wagging at the police that she did throughout the leadership campaign, and saying that the symbolic gestures, as it's quoted here in the Times, have to stop. So that's your kind of kneeling, taking the knee, wearing rainbow lanyards, dancing at Pride. That's the kind of thing she's talking about, that all of that stuff has to stop, and instead they have to have a focus on policing antisocial behaviour, neighbourhood crime, and something that's caught the headlines because over the rest of the papers is her promise that police forces have to, as a rule, visit every single burglary, because at the moment we know that if you get your car nicked or if you get your house turned over, that actually a lot of the time it's very unlikely that police are going to come visit. And you know, there is some substantial things to this, because, for example, there are police forces who have, you know, some might say, probably I would say, wasted hundreds of thousands of pounds putting their officers through Stonewall's diversity training. There's a huge amount of time spent on, for example, making an effort to kind of colour the police's identity in terms of how their public perception and the kind of those symbolic gestures. Whereas actually, if you look at things like rape stats, if you look at things like knife crime, or you know, that police are often nowhere to be seen. The problem with Suella Braverman's approach is that, like much of the rest of the government at the moment, it's all kind of surface level. And the idea that if you just stopped police officers from taking the knee, that everything would be fine is a nonsense. That actually a lot of police time is taken up policing online speech, looking out for what people are tweeting. We saw in the pandemic that those two police officers stood outside a supermarket with a big sign saying, "Remember that being offensive is illegal." I mean, you know, that's the kind of thing that I want to see changed, and the Conservative government isn't going to change that, because that would mean looking at the online safety bill, the police crime courts and sentencing bill, and all the stuff that they have implemented. So it's like welcome noises.
Yeah.
It's welcome noises from Braverman, but just simply saying stop wearing your rainbow lanyard and get back to burglaries isn't going to make any sense.
Online policing is. I had a case. I won't go into it. A long case that went on for a year. And it was the police trying to find somebody who was causing major problems for me online. The cost of that must have been astronomical, but it was very dangerous what this person was doing. The point I'm making is policing has changed, and to all the older people watching, which I'm one of them, when they say we need more police on the streets, crime is not like that anymore. Seeing a policeman walking around is not, to my mind, a deterrent. They are working at crime, but to see them walking around...
But isn't the truth that we need both? It's very reassuring for the public to be able to see a police presence around on our streets, isn't it?
But we see the specials who are a lifeline to giving information to police forces. But the old days of seeing a bobby on the street, like Dixon of Dock Green, crime has changed so much. You know, we still haven't got the murderer of that beautiful little 9-year-old girl, because we all know who it is, and nobody will say, because it's snitching. It's, you know,
It's gangs, isn't it? It's very difficult.
Very difficult. Look, Pete, Ella, we've got to leave it there for the time being. Thank you both very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.